Every time we step in to fill his gaps, every time we make excuses or cover for his absence, we're not just sparing our kids from disappointment, we're teaching them to accept disappointment as normal. Ever feel like you're in a constant competition between your career and your husband's patience? Your kids think you work too hard, but hey, you're doing it all for them, right? The struggle is real, and I've been there too. Moments of feeling like a crappy mom and wife because once again, your kids had breakfast on their way to school, and you've got more important things on your plate than cooking and cleaning. Hey there, working moms who are juggling a million things and still wondering if you're doing it right. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3, and married for 24 years. Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast, where we dive deep into the messy, chaotic, and sometimes hilarious world of mastering motherhood, marriage, and business. I get it, balancing it all was never the goal, but here we are, trying anyway. I'm here to share my journey and guide you through yours. No more apologies for being driven, and definitely no compromises on your dreams. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of being a powerhouse in both business and family life. Join me as we tackle the uncomfortable conversations from being the breadwinner to changing the rules of what a marriage looks like. Let's figure out how to parent in a working parent household without the constant arguments or guilt. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and this is Empowered and Unapologetic, where we embrace the chaos, challenge the norms, and strive to live life on our own terms. Get ready for some real talk, actionable tips, and a few laughs along the way. Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. I'm your host, Veronica Cisneros, a licensed marriage and family therapist. And today's episode is going to get into something heavy and deeply personal for many of us. Navigating the holidays as a newly single parent, dealing with betrayal of infidelity, or going through divorce, all while trying to protect our kids. The holidays should be a time for joy, connection, and family. But when you're facing a fractured relationship, dealing with a partner who continues to disappoint and struggling to manage your own pain while protecting your children's innocence, it feels soul crushing. If you're feeling tired, defeated, or maybe even heartbroken, this episode is for you. Let's talk about what it really takes to get through this season with strength, honesty, and a lot less guilt. Let's start by acknowledging the harsh reality here. This season might look nothing like you had planned. You may be holding on to what's left of your energy, doing everything possible to keep the peace, to make things feel normal for the kids. But deep down, it feels anything but normal. And you're exhausted. Let me be real with you. The emotional toll of trying to protect your children from the truth of who their father has become is a weight no one should carry alone. But you do it because you love them and want to protect them from disappointment, from pain, and from a reality they're far too young to fully understand. I'm going to tell you right now, I know this pain. How do I know this pain? Because Willie asked for a divorce a month after we had Aaliyah. And we had Aaliyah in August, and we were separated in October, around October. And it started off as a separation, and then a couple months later, it went into him asking me for a divorce. And I was 1,000% in denial. There's no way this is happening. I'm going to do everything I can to protect our relationship. He had been so distant, so dismissive, but it didn't matter. I was going to keep this happy home. I was going to go ahead and make this happen no matter what. And of course, it's during the holidays. A lot of Leah's firsts. Her first time trick-or-treating, I remember I had um, driven all the way from San Diego to Oceanside because Willie was in Willie. It was during the time he was working the Crucible, so he was a drill instructor during that time. And the Crucible is like this 3 day intense training. And I remember driving over there just so he could see Aaliyah in her bumblebee outfit. I didn't want him to miss it. Ladies, hear me when I said this. Say this. I didn't want him to miss it. Like, she had no idea what was going on. But I wanted to create this false sense of reality. I wanted to be happy. I wasn't ready to admit this. For Thanksgiving, same thing. You know what? Thanksgiving is a little bit of a blur. I'm not sure how we spent it. I'm sure I was with Aaliyah and it was at my parents' house. Gosh, you know what? I don't remember. I do remember Christmas. Not the day itself, but I remember decorating the Christmas tree. And this is what's going to sound so bananas. I remember videotaping, and while I was videotaping, I remember saying, look at what Daddy made. Dad didn't make that, but I said he did. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And I kept on talking about Dad more than I was talking about myself. I want you guys to think about, why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I start talking about him more than me? Because I was trying to make up for something. And I'm literally videotaping, and I was videotaping because it was Leah's first Christmas, and I wanted it to be something memorable, not tainted. And so I made myself believe the lie. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I trying to protect my kids from? Really? So many of us take on the responsibility of shielding our children from their father's actions, almost like we're cleaning up his messes, trying to cover up the cracks. We think we're saving them, but are we? Or are we also maybe unintentionally compromising parts of ourselves? Here's the hard truth. Every time we step in to fill his gaps, every time we make excuses or cover for his absence, we're not just sparing our kids from disappointment, we're teaching them to accept disappointment as normal. Is that something you're okay with? Is that something you want them to do in their own relationships? Is that really what we want to model for them? Allowing your kids to see reality even when it hurts. Protecting our kids doesn't mean we have to lie to them. If they're seeing their dad fall short or constantly make other things a priority, you're not failing them by letting them see that. If anything, this might be the first step in teaching them to honor their own needs, boundaries, and self worth. I'm going to repeat that. This might be the first step in teaching them how to honor their own needs, boundaries, and self worth. Yes, it hurts to let them experience the full weight of his absence or neglect. But I promise you, the damage is greater when we continue a facade, when we keep pretending he's someone he isn't. That's probably what you did in the marriage as well. Allowing your children to see things as they are gives them the opportunity to build resilience and a foundation of honesty in relationships, even if it's painful in the moment. I can't tell you how many kids I see that are yearning to find that love from their parents, whether it be, because I can't say this is always, husbands. I can't say that. Sometimes it's wives. But I see that pattern where the partner is constantly making excuses, trying to protect their kid, trying to keep them from experiencing pain. And I have seen this firsthand here in my office. This does so much more damage than good. And what ends up coming up, or what ends up happening, is now this kid becomes codependent. Their worth is based off of how well the other person receives them, how well the other person appreciates them, as opposed to them defining who they are and them defining their own self-worth. Instead, we're teaching our children not to be confident, not to trust themselves or their emotions, because we're constantly trying to change them. I get you're trying to help, but again, this does more damage than good.
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time! You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
So, practical communication strategies and boundary setting. Let's talk about boundaries. I want you to know that boundaries aren't just rules for others to follow. They're essential guides that honor your values, protect your well-being, and uphold your children's need for honesty. So, I'm going to be honest, I never knew what a boundary was. I didn't know what a boundary was until I became a therapist. And then I realized, holy shit, I've never really had a boundary, let alone know the definition. So, I will define it now. Boundaries are when we tell people how to behave around us, what's okay, what's not okay. Now, as I say this, do you want your kids to have boundaries around their friends, around the opposite sex? What's okay, what's not okay? Hell to the yeah, absolutely. I have 3 girls. You for damn sure bet that I want my daughters to have boundaries. Why? It's important. It's important for them to establish a hard line as to what's okay and what's not okay, and others to respect that line. And so when we talk about boundaries, I want you to know that not all the time do people respect them. So when your partner skips plans with the kids or prioritizes other things instead of minimizing it or trying to distract them, try this. Validate their feelings with a statement like, I know it's disappointing when things don't go as planned. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel disappointed. This approach allows you to connect with your kids, especially their experience, without sweeping his behavior under the rug. Another powerful boundary is the reminder that you don't have to fix his relationship with kids. Encourage him to be involved, yes, but if he fails, don't jump in to make up for it. Instead, let him own his choices. Ladies, put the volume up. I'm going to repeat this. Let him own his own choices. This is an active choice he is making, and it might involve hurting our children's feelings, but it is an active choice he is making. You don't have the ability to control him. This way, you're not overextending yourself for someone who isn't meeting you halfway, and you're giving your kids the chance to see the reality. Now, let's talk about a little bit more about boundaries. So we already know what a boundary is. How do we set them? Well, first we have to understand, why is it important we set them? Why? Is it because I'm constantly overexerting myself? Is it because my time's not respected? My body's not respected? My emotions aren't respected? Is it because my schedule isn't respected? Okay, now we know why. Now, what do we want to change? What behavior do we want to change? If you're telling me you're going to be here at 3 o'clock, then it's important you're here at 3 o'clock. Otherwise, and this is where we add in the consequence, otherwise, I will leave by 3:05 or 3:10 or 3:15. I will leave. You've said 3 o'clock. I waited till 3:05. That's as far as I go. And if you do want to meet up with the kids, or if you do want to XYZ, then you can do so. But instead of me meeting you here, you can go ahead and pick them up, and then you designate whatever location is best for you. Otherwise, you're going to keep on playing this game, and it's going to get extended. Know your limits. So one practice I like to give my clients, I want you to identify what are your non-negotiables. What are the things you are absolutely are not going to bend on? And then what are your areas of flexibility? What are things that, you know what, this is okay. Okay, at 3 o'clock, I'm not going to leave. I'll give them up until 3:05, or I'll give them up until 3:10, right? Another boundary might be, or another non-negotiable might be, after I had just drove all the way over there to make it really easy for you to see your kid, moving forward, we can go ahead and meet at a designated location, maybe in the middle, maybe something closer to you. Again, whatever you see fit. Obviously, I recognize that there are some court orders that come into play. And obviously, make sure that you set hard boundaries around those too, because I've seen far too many women bend, and they do it just because it's like, well, if I bend here, he'll bend later. I'm going to tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, I have heard them say, are you kidding me? I provided him this opportunity. I went against the court order, trying to help him, thinking he would give me that extra slack or cut me that extra slack. And he didn't. Instead, he sent me a picture of the court order. And I'm the one with the consequence. Well, you didn't respect the boundaries. You didn't respect the boundaries. A lot of times people don't enforce boundaries or set boundaries because there are consequences. There are consequences for the person you're setting them with, but there are also consequences to you. And this is why we don't want to do them. I'm going to tell you right now, the consequences outweigh the cost of you not setting the boundary. The consequences outweigh the cost of you not setting the boundary. Set the boundary. Identify what the boundary is, identify why you're setting it, identify your non-negotiables if you need to. And then also a really good thing to do, I want you to also identify what are your fears wrapped around you not setting this boundary, or what are the fears wrapped around you setting the boundary, because there are going to be fears and insecurities wrapped around that. And so it's important to keep that in mind. The other added value is, guess what? Your kids get to see you set and respect these boundaries, which is invaluable. And they too will go ahead and set and respect boundaries with, let's say, your partner or with any other relationships they have. I've said this so many times and I'm going to say it again. A relationship without boundaries is doomed to fail. Again, a relationship without boundaries is doomed to fail. Learning to let go. Empowerment through authenticity. Here's the hardest part, but it's also where your strength really shines. You don't have to be his fixer. Let me say that again. You don't have to be his fixer, nor do you need to protect his image. It's okay to let go. This doesn't mean trash talking him or trying to make him look bad. It simply means letting go of the need to shelter everyone from the truth. I know that's so hard to hear. I know it's so hard to hear, but it's really important that as you're listening to this podcast episode, you get the tools you need. You guys already know I'm not about band-aids. I'm here to help. I know you want to keep things intact for your kids' sake, but sometimes the most loving thing we can do is allow them to see life's imperfections, to feel the hurt, and to know it's okay to grieve. This helps them learn what resilience really is, not the absence of pain, but the courage to face it. Ending resentment and reclaiming your peace. I also want you to recognize how much you're carrying right now. For a moment, consider what would happen if you let yourself breathe, if you allowed yourself to release some of that resentment. Imagine no longer covering for him, no longer hiding the truth from your kids or yourself, allowing them to see things as they are and learning to respond with grace rather than repair. This is an act of self-compassion and ultimately a gift to your kids. It gives you the peace and freedom to focus on the things that matter most to you and to them. You are stronger than you realize. Before we wrap up, let me remind you, you're stronger than you know. There's no manual for navigating heartbreak, betrayal, and co-parenting during the holidays. but you're doing it day by day, moment by moment. And I'm here to help you find your way through. At Outside the Norm Counseling, we've created resources to guide you through these times, from blogs to one-on-one support. We are here for you. I am here for you. If you're ready to make a change, to reclaim your peace, or just to feel like yourself again, I invite you to book a session with me or one of my team members who are also licensed clinicians. Together, we'll navigate this path forward, helping you master marriage, motherhood, and your career. Thank you for being here with me today. I know this isn't easy, but know that every step you take toward honesty, peace, and empowerment is a step toward healing. Keep going. You're not alone, and you are so much stronger than this struggle. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Raise your hand if you are ready to level up your marriage for 2023. Do you find that you're spending your time together with your husband checked out and in front of the TV? I know you're ready for tangible strategies that actually get you results. Reignite the spark in your marriage, have fun, and grow together. Well, I hope you have your hand raised at this minute because I have something special for you. I'm introducing my brand new 6-question marriage predictor quiz that's gonna give you personalized results to catapult you into the next stage of your marriage journey. That means you'll receive the results to where your marriage can get the best help. If you've got just 1 minute, head to veronicacisneros.org/quiz. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, and you could take my brand new quiz, Marriage Predictor. Get your results delivered right to your email address. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, veronicacisneros.org/quiz. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.